Simon Sinek might be one of the biggest inspiration figures in the world. He is known all around the world because of his unique take on life and the way he believes in becoming successful. Well, we are going to talk about his take on the reasons why people do not succeed. This is going to be a great video, so make sure to keep watching until the end. Simon Sinek says that he gets this question asked a lot of times. Everyone wants to know about his feelings towards the ideology of the millennials. The people who were born after the year 1984 are considered to be millennials, and these guys are the ones that make up the adult generation of this time. He thinks that it is one of the most significant generations right now, and yet it is also one of the generations with a lot of problems. In his eyes, the millennials are narcissistic, unfocused, self-interested, and lazy. This is the reason why they are also pretty hard to manage by anyone in the world. At the same time, the fact that they like to be in so much control on anything, it is one of the reasons why the millennials are always in a state of problems. He said that the millennials are so demanding, but the fact is that they are not aware of what they actually need. For instance, they are so controlling that they want the leaders to work according to their will. They will ask the leaders to be working according to them, and this is part of a reason why they all face many incidents and problems due to the same. The leaders ask the people what do they actually need in their workplace, and the millennials will reply that they need a purpose in the workplace.
If you have phantom beeps, that's a problem. That comes from something, right? If you find yourself incapable of getting through a day without needing to check, that's a problem.
He thinks that it is a great thinking for the millennials, and it is one of the plus points of their work ethics. But then they would ask for making an impact, and he jokes about it, because he is one of the biggest influences with his books, and he took a spoof on that. Anyhow, he thinks that the millennials are a bit too set back due to their own demands, and they are often controversial. Other than that, he says that millennials always prefer sedentary lifestyle. This is also why we are not able to advance and be anything meaningful in our life. The millennials like to be among the guys who would rather sit on beanbags and ask for free food, and this is where they settle up and do nothing more with their lives.
And so what we have is an entire generation that's growing up addicted. And like all addicts, they haven't learned the skill set of when they suffer stress to turn to a person. What they do is they turn to the device.
Simon gave 4 reasons why the millennials are like this. The first one is failed parenting. He says that it is a wide-known fact that parenting has been really questioned in the recent times, and thanks to the situations like poverty and more such conditions, the parents have not been able to give a lot of time to their young ones. Other than that, the times have been really hard on both the parents and the children, and this is why the children tend to be more remorsed. Moreover, the time when millennials grew up, there were a ton of new techniques and methods that were coming up at that time. This was the time when magazines and such mass media used to be really famous, and what it did was make the parents experiment techniques on their children, and this is the reason why the children turned out to be in more dilemma than ever. Moreover, he said that the parents pretended that their children could deserve anything in their life. If they want something, they can get that, and it does not even matter if they work hard for it or not. This made them live in a small bubble, and this way, the millennials have a false sense of pride that they can do anything. But in reality, it is really hard for them to do, and this is the grounds for even more pain and sadness.
These kids who commit suicide, you go look at their Instagrams, you would have no clue that they were depressed because they're happy and they're star athletes, right? You'd have no clue because they're really good. So when we say silly things like, my door is always open.
Technology. We live in a time of technology where Facebook and such social media is the grounds of our happiness, and it has made the millennials to be subjected to false sense of happiness. They are made to think that everything on camera is good. If you are enjoying on expensive clothes, even if you do not have the money to, but you spend lavishly, just to get a false sense of accomplishment, this is a failure on your part, and you actually do not get anything from it in return. The social media is one of the biggest reasons behind the pain, sadness, and the loneliness of the millennials. The self-esteem of the millennials is declining from time to time, and it is all because of the way they think. While the millennials are too busy thinking about themselves, they create a scenario in their head where they think that they are the best, and in reality, when they are subjected to competition and challenges, they get even more depressed when they lose, and it is the cause of even more pain.
Combined with an inability to ask for help with things that you're struggling with, and you turn to social media or device, you keep checking, you count your likes, you count your followers, and if somebody unfriends you, oh my god, it's trauma.
Social media has taught people to have filters on everything, and Simon thinks that it has a great part in making everyone from the millennials consider themselves as sorted out. While they pretend to be happy and accomplished on the social media, they are still trying to figure out their life in the real world, and it has made situations even worse for the millennials. Simon said that we are all addicted to social media just because of a hormone called dopamine. It is the addicting feel-good hormone, and whenever we get a text from someone, dopamine gets released, and we feel good about it. This is the exact same reason why the millennials are concerned about their like counts and followers, etc. on social media.
And they're accused of being entitled and narcissistic, self-interested, unfocused, lazy. But entitled is the big one.
We just get addicted to it, and we do not even realize. But what we don't know here is the fact that when we gamble, drink alcohol, or smoke, we get the same hormone dopamine in our blood. This is insane, as we allow the teens to go through this addiction in their childhood by letting them use social media and everything about it, but at the same time, we have set minimum age limits on gambling, drinking, and smoking. And in Simon's eyes, those restrictions mean nothing when there is no age restriction on social media at all.
Tell me that they struggle to form deep, meaningful relationships, and the companies don't care. And so it's destructive to them as individuals, but ultimately it'll hurt the companies because more and more millennials are entering the workforce.
Studies have shown that the majority of druggists and drunkards get exposed to it when they were teenagers, and it is all because of peer pressure. During the teen age, peer pressure feels greater than parents' bonds with the children, and in the same time, the child gets exposed to even more uglier things that they should not be subjected to. This again comes back to poor parenting methods, and it is blamed on that as well. While some teens find out that the dopamine from these intoxicants are helping them out from the stress and depression of adolescence, this is one of the major reasons why the drugs are increasing in the current times, as we are not able to identify our needs, and we get exposed to the wrong things at the wrong time. This gets stuck in their minds that the drugs are helping them feel better, and in the later stages of their lives as well, they would rather hit the bars than getting help from some other person. Simon Sinek believes that we have to go with technology, and he does not mean to banish it completely, but he wants everything to be in balance. Too much of everything is bad, may it be alcohol or gambling. If it is done in limits, it will be okay, but if it is done in excess, of course, it will bring its issues, and it will be dangerous for the person who practices it. Hence, we must know our limits and stay within those constraints.